Good afternoon. Today we are continuing working with these more complicated equations. We are doing PO62 part 1 because this is such an important PO that he made it into 2 parts so we get extra practice with it. It's that important. Okay. So let's look at what we're doing. I can solve equations with variables on both sides. So we're going to see how we solve for that one variable when it's on both sides of that equal sign. Once we work it through, it's really not anything more than what we know how to do. It's just more steps. Okay. So this is why I keep drilling it in. We're not doing mental math. We're following the steps, setting it up my way, because we keep building on each objective. It gets another step added on, another step added on. So we're doing these big, long equations. Not that they're harder, it's just more work to it to get to our answer. Okay. So variables on both sides. Our goal, turn to the right page. Our goal is to move all variables to one side using opposite operations. So we want it to look like what we've been working with. We want variable on one side, constants on the other side. Okay, using those opposite operations to get it over to the side we want it to be on. So then it's the math that we've been doing. Okay, so it's gonna look different for the first step, and then we're gonna make it look like what we've worked with, so we'll follow the same steps, and it'll be what we've already been doing. So we're just tacking on one more step for us. So when moving terms from one side to the other, remember to combine like terms only. Super important that you remember to keep that variable with its coefficient. You can't drop a variable and add it to the constant. It has to be like terms with like terms. Basketballs can't be combined with the footballs, right? They are different. We have to make sure we're combining the same things. Isn't a basketball score of 17 to 14 just like 3 to 0? Either way, one side has 3 more points. Likewise, 17x plus 1 equals 14x minus 6 is just like 3x plus 1 equals negative 6. One side has 3 more x's. So we're going to see what that means as we work it through. So let's practice what we're talking about. Show your work. Right? We are showing every step. We're keeping it organized. So often I have people doing steps over to this side, all over, and then we get our X. I want us to stay organized. As I write it on the board, that's how I want you to write it on your paper. One step directly under the next step, directly under the next step. Our equal signs should line up going all the way down. So watch what that looks like. We have 18x equals 14x plus 20. Anybody have a guess what that first step is going to be? Remember, first thing we want to do is combine those like terms. So we want to get the variables on the same side. So I have one person who has a guess. Anybody else have guesses? I have a few more brave souls. What are you thinking, Beckett? With you doing what? You're right, I am going to use opposite operations, but with what part? Well, I have 18x on one side, 14x on the other side. So which one am I going to move? Why would I move the 14x? 18x is over here all by his lonesome, right? He doesn't have any constants with him. We don't want the constant with the variable on the same side. So that 18x doesn't have a constant on that side, so we're gonna move the other variables over to it. So that means we want to get that negative 14x, because we have the positive 14x, so we're gonna subtract a 14x from both sides. What is 18x minus 14x, Christina? Say it louder. Not 4. What is 18x minus 14x? Robbie?
4x.
4x. Stop dropping the variable. We've got to keep the variable with it. There's a lot of us that keep doing that. We have to keep our variable. So we've got 4x now on the left side. What are we left with on the right side? Harper? Nope. I did 14x minus 14x. So I subtracted the 14x out because I moved that 14x over already. Claire?
20.
Yeah, I've got a plus 20, which is a positive 20. Does that make sense, Harper? We kept that x with the 4, so we moved that whole term over. So now I have 4x equals 20. We've seen this before, haven't we? What do I do to solve my problem? Amala? I'm going to divide that 4 out from both sides because I want to be left with just the x. So 4 divided by 4 is my 1x. 20 divided by 4 is 5. Notice how that equal sign, see how I keep it lined up as I'm writing it out. So I'm making sure that I'm doing all of my pieces. I'm making sure that everything is equaling on both sides. What do you think I should do last? I have x equals 5. What was that, Rocco? Yeah, you did. You whispered something. What was it? Oh my goodness, you just threw your voice all the way up front. I thought it came from up here. You are absolutely right, Michael. We need to check our work. So to check our work, we're going to put that 5 in for x. So I have 18 times 5 equals 14 times 5 plus 20. So what is 18 times 5? Ruby? 90. What is 14 times 5? Robbie?
70.
Plus 20. What is 70 plus 20? 90. So do both sides of my equal sign balance out? 90 equals 90. It works. I know I got the correct answer. Okay? So always take what you get for your variable as your answer and plug it back into the original equation to make sure we didn't make any of those simple math mistakes that are easy to make. Let's do another one together. Negative 10n plus 18 equals 8n. What's my first step going to be? What do you think, Natalie?
To combine the like terms.
Okay, so what are my like terms?
Negative 10n and 8n.
All right, so how am I going to combine it?
You're gonna, are you gonna add 8 to negative 10? Or 6?
So remember what I said over here. Mark, I think it was Mark, said to put the 14, or was that Beckett? Beckett said we wanted to move the 14x over to this side, and I asked why, and he's like, That sounded right. Sounded good. And I said, you're right, because the 18x is over here all by his lonesome. So we have the 8n over here all by his lonesome. So we want to bring the other variables over to that side.
So is it 8 minus 10?
Well, I have negative 10n here. What's the opposite of negative 10n?
Adding 10?
Adding 10n. So I'm going to add 10n to this side. So negative 10n plus 10n zeroes out. I'm left with 18 equals 8 plus 10 is 18n. What's my next step? David,
Divide both sides of the equation by 18.
because I want to get n by itself. So I'm going to divide that 18 out. 18 divided by 18 is 1. 18 divided by 18 is 1. So I have 1 equals n. That is the exact same as saying n equals 1. 1 equals n. Doesn't matter which way you do it. So you can put that variable on either side of the equal sign, whichever one works easier for you. Okay? Then what do I do next? Say it louder. Check your work. I'm going to throw in a 1. So I have negative 10 times 1 plus 18 equals 8 times 1. Negative 10 times 1 is negative 10 plus 18 equals 8. Negative 10 plus 18 gives me that 8 equals 8. So it does balance out. Let's look at our next one. What do you think we're going to do here? Give it a shot, Eleanor. Yep, so tell me what I'm combining.
So you are going to add 9 plus 4y.
So the first thing, when I have a variable and a constant on both sides of the equal sign, I'm going to decide which side's going to have the variable, which side's going to have the constant. Because I can't have them both on the same side. I like, just because my brain likes this setup better, where it goes variable equals the number, I just regularly put my variable on this side and I'll put my constant over on this side. It doesn't have to be that way. It can be flipped. Okay? But I like to decide which side's going to have the variable and which side's going to have the constant. Every year, I have students who put them both on the same side. So they would, don't write this down because this is going to be wrong, but this is what people would do. They would say, okay, I'm going to move my 9y over here, so minus 9y. So that would be 4 minus 9, negative 5y. And then I'm going to add 8, so plus 50. But then there's nothing over here. You can't put them both on the same side. You have to have variable on one side, constant on the other. So your first thing you have to do is decide which side's going to have the variable, which side's going to have the constant. So then I take care of my variable. I want to move that 4y over to my variable side. So that's a positive 4y. What's the opposite of a positive? Negative. So I want to subtract 4y from both sides. 9y minus 4y is 5y. I'm going to bring down the rest of my equation. 4y minus 4y cancels out, positive 42. So once I move my variable over, and I bring down the rest of my equation, what do I do next? Eleanor?
You add 8 to negative.
I'm gonna move my constant over to the constant side. So -8 plus 8, so I want to do +8 on both sides. So I'm left with 5y equals 42 plus 8. Notice how I didn't combine my variable and my constant at the same time. They're a separate step because I found that when students try to combine in the same step, that's when mistakes start to happen. So I move my variable, bring down the equation, then I move my constant, then I see what I'm left with. I'm very intentional with this because every year I have people trying to combine steps, and when we combine steps, we make simple mistakes. I would rather get the right answer and then on the test, do that extra step and get the right answer than if I'm combining and I make that simple mistake, then I have to do the practice work and I have to do the retake again. You're not saving yourself time by combining steps. You're really not. Every year I have people say, shh, Miss Gambino, I know what I'm doing. I'm good. I can do it this way. And then they discover, nope, I'm not as good as I thought because I'm making these simple mistakes. So when I tell you to do each individual step, I'm actually saving you time in the long run. So do each individual step. What is the next step I have to do to finish off my problem? Claire?
Divide both sides by 5.
Yeah, I need to move that coefficient over. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. 50 divided by 5 is 10. Now I'm going to check my work. 9 times 10 minus 8 equals 4 times 10 plus 42. 9 times 10 is 90 minus 8 equals 4 times 10 is 40 plus 42. 90 minus 8 is 82. 40 plus 42 is 82. I know I did my math correct. You look confused, Natalie. Which
Oh,
step?
no, I realized, I just,
Okay.
like, got.
What makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Work out the next one. -4n minus 3 equals 8n plus 21. And then we're going to see if you worked it out correct. So try working out that next one. This last one on the top line. Remember, if you need more space, we've got that page right next to it that's blank. You can use that. You can get a piece of loose leaf that we can put, it's already 3-hole punch that we can include in it. So as we get to these more complicated equations, sometimes people need some more space. That's totally fine. You can always get loose leaf paper. I've got more in my cupboard. When you get it finished up, raise your hand when you have an answer. What day is today? Day 2?
Yeah.
12:50. All right, I've got some people still working it through. I've got some of us are finishing up. Raise your hand so I know when you're ready. Okay, I've got most of us have finished up. If you're still working on it, keep working on it. Vivian, what did you get for an answer? Raise your hand if you got a different answer.
I got 10 plus 6.
Okay. Raise your hand if you got a different answer. So far I've heard -2 and I've heard 6. All right, so, oops, I went too high. So I've heard -2 and I've heard 6. So we're gonna work through and see somebody's making mistakes, and that's okay. This is how we learn. We're gonna catch and see what mistakes were being made. So we have -4n minus 3 equals 8n plus 21. What's my first step? What did you do? I have lots of us with our hands up, so lots of us know what they did for their first step. Fallon, what'd you do?
I did -4n plus 4n and 8n plus 4n.
So you moved the 4n over to the right. So -4n plus 4n zeros out. So I have -3. 8n plus 4n is 12. I'm bringing down the rest of my equation, which was plus 21. Did you do that first step? Okay. Because I know you're getting frustrated, so just follow along and see where. Okay. What would my next step be? Some of us might have moved the variable to the left side, but you can still see what the step would be. What step should we do next? David?
Mine's 21.
Yeah, because I need to move that constant over to the other side. Plus 21 minus 21. So -3 minus 21 would be what, Claire? -24. And that equals 12n. 21 minus 21 zeros out. So now I have -24 equals 12n. What do I do next, Vivi?
Divided by -12. Or 12.
Which one?
Both sides.
No. You said -12 and then you said 12. Which one do you want? What should I divide by?
12.
Why the positive 12, Vivi? Because up here it's a positive 12n. Okay, so we have to be really careful when we see some negatives that we're making sure we're dividing by the right number. So you're correct when you fixed yourself. Instead of -12, it should be that positive 12. So we're dividing both sides by positive 12. What is -24 divided by a positive 12? Kamala? Say it louder for me. -2. 12 divided by 12 is 1. Were you able to see where you went wrong? Did you? So, subtract 8. So, -4 minus 8. That's the mistake you made. So remember, on that number line, how about this? If we have -4, when we subtract, we go to the left, and our zero's over here. So you just went the wrong way on that number line. So just remember that if we're ever subtracting that number like that, we go to the left side, okay? Easy mistake that people make all the time. All right, so now let's check and see. We have -4 times -2 minus 3 equals 8 times -2 plus 21. So -4 times -2 is a positive 8 minus 3. 8 times -2 is -16 plus 21. 8 8 minus 3 is 5. -16 plus 21 is 5. 5 does equal 5. It balances out. Okay. So, it is important that we plug in our variable answer so we can see if we had gotten that 6, if we plugged that 6 in, we would have had -4 times 6 minus 3 equals 8 times 6 plus 21. We do negative 24 minus 3 equals 48 plus 21. Negative 24 minus 3 is a negative 27 equals 69. Ooh, wait a minute. That doesn't work. It's not balanced. Because it will happen all the time that you make a simple mistake because you just get in the groove and you're just going, and you accidentally go the wrong way. It happened in our homework from last week. Somebody was like, wait, how did you get negative 10? Oh, I went the wrong way. I got the negative 2. It was supposed to be negative 10. This time it was, negative 8, and I just went the wrong way. This is how you discover that you made that mistake. Okay, so if it does not balance out, this is why we check our work. You look back to see, did I mess up with my negatives? It happens. Make sure you check your work. So we've got 4 more problems down here that you will work on. But I want to show us some more. Then we have a question on the bottom. And you're going to work out the word problem. You write out the equation, and then just do the math that we've been doing. So write out the equation how you think it should be. On our second page, here are some equations that also may include combining like terms and that distributive property. Woo! It's nothing new. We've done it. It looks more complicated. We look at something like this and we go, oh my word, that is complicated. But we just take it one step at a time. All right, don't get overwhelmed looking at that. Let's look at this first one. Remember, PERMDAS, first thing we do is the parentheses, so we want to do that distributive property. So 8 parentheses n plus 3. How do I get rid of my parentheses? Eleanor?
Multiply n by 8 and 3.
I'm going to multiply that 8 through. So 8 times n is 8n. 8 times a positive 3 is a positive 24. And then I bring down the rest of my equation. Now it looks like what we were doing on the first page. It's just one more step. So what we're doing is not crazy new stuff. It's just adding on multiple steps. So we just have to take it one step at a time. And we know what we're doing. It's all stuff that we've already done. Just don't get overwhelmed by it. Just go one step at a time until you get your variable equals a number. Lots of steps. So we can't go super fast and mess up a step. Slow your roll. Do your steps one step at a time. Eleanor,
Do we need to check this one?
what do you think?
No. Yes.
You should always check. Whether or not it says check your answer, you should always be in the habit of checking your answer. Because that's how you discover if you make one of those simple math mistakes that are really easy to make. And then you go back and say, where was that mistake that I made? What about this next one? I don't have any parentheses there. So what should my first step be? Pencils down. Look at our second one there. What should my first step be? Vivi? Combining like terms. Remember, we can only combine on the same side of that equal sign. And I see I have a negative 5n and I have a positive 7n on the same side of the equal sign. So I'm going to combine those. What is that going to look like? Vivi? Negative 5 plus 7 gives me that 2n. I'm going to bring that 3 down. What operation am I going to put there? Christina? Let's think that through. Is it a negative 2n? It's not a negative 2n. So I can't put subtract, because remember that subtraction sign made it a negative 5n. Negative 5n plus 7n was a positive 2n, so it's an adding. And that equals 6n minus 1. And then we do the math that we did on the first page. So on this one, first step would be parentheses. Then it would be combining like terms that are on the same side of the equal sign. Then we're going to go move our variable to one side, constant to the other, do opposite operations, and we get our answer. All steps that we've done, but we're doing them all in one equation. Nothing new. Same steps. It's just a lot of steps. So you have to keep your steps straight and organized. So let's look at our next one. Notice how in the examples above, the numbers of variables on each side is different. Something kind of cool happens when there's the same number of variables on each side. 8x and 8x. If I have to move my variable over, what do? How do I move one of the 8x's over to the other side? Second? Yeah. So if I have a positive 8x here, I want to subtract 8x. Subtract 8x. What's 8x minus 8x? David?
0.
Well, what's 8x minus 8x?
0.
So then I bring down the rest of my equation. Minus 5 equals 0 plus 1. Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. If I take those zeros out, because the zeros don't matter, I have negative 5 equals plus 1. Does that work? Is that balanced? It's not balanced. So when you have the same amount of variables on both sides, we get down to negative 5 equals a positive 1. You do that 0 with a line through it, which means no solution. It's only a no solution if we have the same number of variables on each side. So when I go to do opposite operations, it zeroes out both sides. But you have to prove that it does not balance. I do not want us just to look and say 3x and 3x, it's no solution. I want you to work it out so you can see that negative 5 does not equal 1. So it's a no solution. So in this section here, you're going to be getting some no solutions, but you need to work it out and prove it's a no solution. Because on the test, there will be ones that you can have a solution for, there will be ones that you cannot have a solution for, and you need to be able to understand which ones are which. So you have to work it out, show your work. I don't want to just see you write no solution because Ms. Gambino said these ones we can't have a solution for. Prove it. Prove that it doesn't work. Then we have some word problems under that. Work out your word problems. Any questions? Go ahead and get to work. It is 12:50. Oh, today is one of those days where we say, oh, thank goodness it's going to be storming tonight, and we don't have, games are going to be canceled, so we have time to do our math homework.
I don't have hockey
I don't want to go. May or may not. It depends. Friends, it depends on how bad the weather is tonight. They might cancel if they don't want you out driving if tornado sirens are going off. So, hold on. If you are listening to this at home, I hope you are well and hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful day.